What's happening, boys and girls? Bo McBrayer here from FantasyPros, breaking down the Week 14 top waiver wire additions. I got a lucky number 7 waiver wire additions that I'll be looking for in Week 14. But first, if you want a chance to win a signed Jackson Smith and Jigba Seahawks helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to fantasypros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Fantasy Pros My Playbook app, leave a review for the podcast, or follow us on X, Instagram, or TikTok at Fantasy Pros. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive. We will be announcing a winner right here on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. At lucky number 7, Tennessee Titans. Not a good team. Decent defense. They've been kind of lackluster on offense. A whole lot of bad things have happened to the Tennessee Titans this year. However, they can be useful, especially down the stretch in the fantasy playoffs. I'm telling you, we got a couple potential league winners. Will Levis is my number 7. Yeah, I know. He stirs mayonnaise into his coffee. He eats the peel off the banana. I don't even know if any of it's true. I've seen him drink mayonnaise coffee. He's been pretty hit and miss. He's made some really bad decisions, turnovers throughout this season. However, over his last 4, he scored between 15 to 20 fantasy points in all 4 of those games. Remarkably consistent for a guy not known for his consistency. And the best thing about Will Levis is his remaining fantasy playoff schedule. He's got the Jaguars next week. He's got the Bengals. He's got the Colts. And then Week 17 championship week for fantasy football, he gets those Jags again. Are we talking about a league winner, Will Levis? Are we looking at a guy who's been pretty consistent over the last 4 games, looking at 4 consecutive spike weeks? I think it's possible. I think if you throw out the negative game scripts that the Titans might be in with some of the Bengals and Colts can score points, the Jags, who knows what you're getting from the Jags except for horrible defense. Will Levis is at number 7. Risk is baked in. You won't have to spend that much fab to get him, but he could be the guy that just vaults you to the top. I'm all for it. Go for it. At number 6, his teammate, Mr. I only catch touchdowns. We're talking about NWI Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the Flying Hawaiian. He finally saw some volume in Week 13. He had 8 targets, season high. He keeps scoring touchdowns. He had 2 more in Week 13. I don't know how he keeps doing it. He's barely on the field. He finally saw some more snaps and some more targets go his way in Week 13. Scored two more touchdowns. The guy scores every week. We just went over how cupcake easy, peasy, lemon squeezy this Titans remaining schedule is. You know what? You can blame me. If you go out there and you like me and you finally say, what the heck, I can't keep missing out on Nick Westbrook-Ikhine's touchdowns every week. If you go and do that and he disappears into the darkness again where he's been most of his career, that's on me. We're going to be cursed. I'm ready to be hurt again by being a little late to the party on a guy who hasn't done anything besides score touchdowns this season. Who knows what we're going to get, but this schedule remaining for the Titans and just the way that they're using Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, you at least got to go kick the tires on him. You might have to spend some fab for him. I don't know if it's worth it, but if you do get him, plop him in the starting lineup. What do you have to lose? At number 5, I want to believe that Sean McVay is somehow going to break out of his hypnosis when it comes to his backfield. I'm talking about Blake Corum. who finally saw some decent volume. They gave him an entire series. The first running back carries for the Rams went to Blake Corum in the second quarter of the Rams game in week 13. And he cracked off more than 5 yards a carry in the game, 42 yards on 8 carries. Barely saw the field outside of that one series in the second quarter. Kyren Williams, he's not explosive. He doesn't break any big plays at all. He's not efficient. He doesn't break big plays and doesn't really add any value to the offense other than I get more touches than anybody else. He also fumbles a lot. Why is Kyren Williams getting nearly 100% of the running back snaps from the Rams? It makes no sense. Give Kyren a break. Maybe Kyren's going to be better if you give him a break. Sean, come on. You got Blake Corum, very, very, very talented, decorated rookie from Michigan. Outstanding player. Outstanding college player. Very well-rounded. Does a lot of the same things that Kyren does, but better, more explosively. Blake Corum is a premium stash, and hopefully more volume is on the horizon. Seriously, what is with Kyren Williams? What is the appeal? I don't get it. I never have. If Kyren just keeps getting all the touches, of course he's going to score some fantasy points just by sheer volume. It makes no sense to me, but apparently Sean McVay knows something we don't, or he just doesn't care. Take the guesswork out of waiver wire decisions with FantasyPros Waiver Assistant. Get instant analysis on potential moves from over 100 fantasy experts. Discover both the weekly and rest of season impact for every waiver ad. Visit fantasypros.com/myplaybook or download the Fantasy Football My Playbook app to optimize your roster today. It's at the point of the show where we get into that top 4, and I honestly got to say the waivers this week are putrid. I'll go out there and say it. I don't love any of these guys except for maybe number 1, who nobody's going to be surprised by who number 1 is. But all the way 7 through 2, I don't know how much I'll be actually bidding. I am intrigued by Levis and Westbrook-Ikhine. Corum gives me indigestion because I don't know if he's going to get enough volume. At number 4, Sincere McCormick of the Raiders. This Raiders backfield is disgusting. You had Zamir White, who was supposed to be that bell cow back, didn't play well, got hurt. Then you had Alexander Madison, who vultured a couple touchdowns early in the season. He's Alexander Madison for a reason. He's not good. He's okay. Sincere McCormick is the best guy in this room. Even if Alexander Madison or Zamir White come back from their injuries, I still think Sincere McCormick is the most explosive back they have. I mean, they ran out Amir Abdullah with more snaps, but Sincere McCormick outcarried him and outgained him in that backfield. He looked pretty good, looks really quick. He's a good receiver, good blocker. Not sure why he was practice squad bound most of the season before the injuries happened. Sincere McCormick's a quality back. I liked him in college at UTSA. It's just he hasn't seen a lot of work. When he's seen the field, he's looked really good. What are the Raiders doing? Nobody knows. All I know is that the Raiders are going to score some points and they're going to give up some points. They're not as bad as their record is, but if you're going to roster anyone in this backfield, I think Sincere McCormick, who's currently 0% rostered on Yahoo leagues, he might be your best bet to go spend $1 or $2 of fab and actually have a flex-worthy starter. At number 3, top streaming quarterback, the safest at least, is Russell Wilson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, he has been volatile. He's had a couple QB1 weeks. He's had a couple weeks where he absolutely crippled our lineups. And we just saw a spike week from Russell Wilson. You might not want to drop him back to the waiver wire this week, even if you had him last week. Great job. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was against the Bengals. The Bengals, probably the worst defense in the league, maybe except for Jacksonville and Carolina. The Bengals have given up a ton of points to everyone. Russell Wilson doesn't have as easy of a time as playing the Bengals every week. He's been dropping dimes, looking like old Russ, at least in certain times. I think Russell Wilson is worthy of a continuing streamer, at least for the next couple of weeks, especially when you're left with that option or Will Levis or Aiden O'Connell, somebody like that, even Cooper Rush, who has a super easy schedule. Not a whole lot of upside out there. Russell Wilson at least provides a ceiling because he's throwing the ball deep. They're making big plays in Pittsburgh. This team is pretty scary. So Russell Wilson for one more week, maybe two, at number 3. At number 2, the wide receiver position pretty much picked through. We saw an unprecedented amount of wide receivers drafted this fantasy draft season. Keon Coleman was definitely on that list as an exciting early round rookie pick for the Buffalo Bills. They could have had Xavier Worthy. They could have had a couple other guys. Keon Coleman is the one they picked. Do the Bills even need him? I don't think so. I think that they're fine with Amari Cooper, Khalil Shakir. If Dalton Kincaid is healthy, he's a better receiver than Keon Coleman. Curtis Samuel's still there. Mac Hollins, another guy that scores touchdowns. Keon Coleman is kind of the odd man out, even when he's healthy. It's still a powerful offense. Buffalo scores a lot of points, and Keon Coleman's size and his ability to be a red zone weapon gives him touchdown upside. So if you find Keon Coleman sitting there on waivers, pick him up. He's a quality player on a great team, and we've done more with less. At number 1, no surprise to anyone, it's Jordan Mason of the 49ers. Empty the clip, the whole thing. Just fire off until it clicks. Every dollar of fab that you have needs to go on Jordan Mason if he's available. The Niners love to run the football. They need to run the ball to stay alive in the playoff chase. They're 5-7 now. They've gotten blown out in back-to-back games, both very tough road games. Don't sleep on this backfield. Jordan Mason is gonna warrant all the fab. If you have the most fab left, you can have Jordan Mason. But don't forget about Isaac Guerendo. The rookie out of Louisville is another pretty explosive option in this backfield. I hate to say it, but CMC, RIP. We hardly knew you this season. It looked pretty bad when you were on the field. A lot of people wasted their first-round pick on Christian McCaffrey. It happens. But we can make amends with Jordan Mason, maybe even with Isaac Guerendo. Empty the clip. Jordan Mason is going to be expensive, but worth it. All right, thanks again for joining me. Join me again for week 15 next week. Have a good night.